But on behalf of the families that we serve at Shelter House and the amazing staff that was just recognized, I am truly humbled and honored to serve as the CEO and Executive Director for Shelter House. Today's theme is Be the One. It's been an ongoing theme throughout our county for the last year. Last year, we served about 2,300 individuals across our programs. The thing you should know is that out of those 2,300 people, nearly 70% of them were children. Today, currently, in all of our programs, from our shelter through all of our housing programs, today, we're serving 500. And what you need to take away from that is of those 500, nearly half have experienced domestic violence. I get questioned all the time, doing tours of the shelters, when I meet people and tell them what I do. How do people become homeless in the first place? What are the issues? Homelessness is so complicated. There's so many contributing factors to homelessness. I'm going to focus on one today, and that's domestic violence and sexual assault. Domestic violence and sexual assault, there's a clear intersection that we've seen with homelessness. But more importantly, there's a clear intersection between domestic violence, sexual assault, and murder, where domestic violence is the leading cause of all homicides right here in our community in Fairfax County. All of our programs and all of our efforts, they focus on responding to the victim, getting them out of the situation. But what if we got to the problem before we label somebody a victim? Our vision at Shelter House is to end, or is a community free of homelessness and domestic violence. That's our vision. And we hope that you share that vision here today, moving forward. But if we envision a community free of homelessness and domestic violence, we need to end it. We can't keep responding to it. We're very proud to say that we just opened up a 28-bed facility down in Alexandria to respond to victims of domestic violence. We can clap for that. We have many advocates in the room here today that made that happen. We have our partners from Fairfax County that made that happen. And we thank all of you for making that happen. It's much needed. These beds are much needed. But again, going back to our vision of that community free of this, so that we don't have to keep adding beds. So I'm talking about prevention. What are we doing around prevention of homelessness and domestic violence? Shelter House over the last few years have increased our prevention services, where we're now preventing just about 100 families from becoming homeless in the first place every single year. But again, I want to go back to that domestic violence and sexual assault. And honestly, I want to call a few people out today that can really be the impact. And you're going to know who you are when I say it. All the men in this room. I knew getting into this work that the majority of the victims are women. But I never realized that the issue wasn't a woman's issue. It's all of our issue. And when we're talking about prevention, and when we're talking about stopping this issue, it's not responding to the victim. It's doing something before the crime ever happens. So what really made me point out the men in this room is several weeks ago when I was at the ribbon cutting for our new domestic violence shelter. We had about 100 people there. It was a great celebration of the opening of these 28 beds. But I looked around the room, 90% of the people were women. And I thought, wow, what if we as men started making this our issue? If the majority of the victims are women, the other side is us. Not to say that we're committing the crimes sitting in this room, but we can stop it. We can stop it by recognizing the signs of domestic violence, not tolerating when we hear situations of domestic violence and sexual assault, and we can speak up. So my call to action to you all today, to the men in this room, is for you all to be the one. You all to be the one to stop domestic violence. Because I guarantee you know somebody that's experiencing it. 1 in 4 women experience domestic violence in their lifetime. I guarantee if you educate yourself and you become aware of these issues and the signs, that you will know somebody that's experiencing that, whether it's at home, whether it's in the workplace. And if you don't know somebody today, you will. It may be your daughter, it may be your niece, it may be your grandchild. It will be a loved one. So I challenge you again to be the one to step up and be that voice for people who don't have the voice, who are afraid to speak up, who are threatened every single day if they do speak up. So with that, we have amazing speakers today. We have amazing guest speakers that have gone through our programs. So courageous to get up here in front of a group of strangers to tell their story.